Hey, how's it going? Back again, another video for Saturday, so quite a chilled one. I just thought basically I'd pick out some random horror titles that I don't talk about that much that I'd recommend. So basically this is kind of a recommendations video. There's plenty of boutique label releases in here. It's all on physical media. I own all of these titles on physical. There's some boutique label stuff, some standard releases, mainly boutique label releases because I think it's the best releases of these specific films. So without further ado, let's crack on. So some recommendations here. I picked out from 88 Films the Killer Crocodile, which I think is a really good movie. Basically, group of people stranded. I forget where it's set. It's an Italian film, but it's very good. Yeah, it's on the Italian collection. I'm just trying to see if I can familiarise myself. Yeah, when a group of well-meaning scientists venture into the murky swamps of Santo Domingo, little do they know that they are stumbling across into a toxic nightmare. So all the water is basically filled with toxic chemicals, and there's a huge crocodile and it's coming after them. Typical crocodile action, Killer Crocodile movie. It's even called Killer Crocodile. It's on the Italian collection, 2K restoration, really good. You can pick this up at a great price as well. There's even a sequel, which I've yet to see. One from Eureka now, and that's Onibaba. So this is Japanese. It's like a folk horror. Couple of people live in the middle of nowhere, basically out in the sticks, and weird stuff keeps happening, and they're seeing strange imagery at night time of this sort of somebody wearing this mask, and they think it's an actual demon. It's got a bit of a revelation in there, but really interesting black and white horror. Really do rate Onibaba, and I do recommend it. The Eureka edition is fantastic. Another Eureka here, The Entity. Now there's some nasty stuff in this. Basically a woman's being stalked by an entity and it keeps raping her. So the ghost is, you see, you know, there's some graphic scenes in here where she's held down on the bed by an invisible force, and you know, bad stuff happens, rape from this entity, and she has to like go down the scientific route to try and get rid of it. And these scientists are trying to come up with a way of basically trapping this entity and things. That sort of happens towards the end where the scientists are involved, and it's not the best part of the film. I thought it was too sciencey for me, but a lot of the film is very scary as well. It's pretty creepy stuff, flesh crawling stuff, somebody being hurt by this entity. But yeah, pretty good addition here from Eureka. Not many special features on there, but it's a long film as well, from 1981. It's 125 minutes, but I do recommend The Entity if you haven't seen it. One that I've seen but I've not cracked open the Blu-ray, and that's Psychomania. It's about this rebel group of bikers, these punk rock bikers. They die and they're resurrected, and they're going around the town causing mischief and some havoc as undead punk bikers. But yeah, really good. I'd say this is the best edition out there. There's an BFI edition, which is UK. This is Region A, so you will need a Region A player for the Arrow, because they released it in that territory. So the Psychomania on out from Arrow Video. 2K restoration, very good film. It's got a good punk rock vibe to it as well, sort of thing. A bit of punk out, you know, with the rockers on the bikes and things causing mischief. But yeah, I do recommend this one. The BFI edition I'm sure is good as well, but I opted for the Arrow. Another Arrow video here, and that's The Edge of Sanity, and basically it's a Jekyll and Hyde story. So stars Anthony Perkins of Psycho, or from Psycho, the Psycho films. He does a very good job in this film. Plays this Jekyll and Hyde character, but when he's channeling his Mr. Hyde, he's quite ferocious and killing lots of prostitutes and things like that. But really good film, Edge of Sanity. Great release from Arrow. Do recommend this one fully. Brilliant film. Here's one from Grindhouse Releasing, so I assume it's Region A. It may be a Region 3 one. Actually, this is Region 3, so Grindhouse Releasing. It's called Death Game. It's Region 3, so you can pick it up. Rated R. Fantastic edition. To sum this film up, if you've seen the film Knock Knock from Eli Roth from about 2015. This is a 70s version of that, but much better. So it's like Knock Knock got inspiration from this film Death Game. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. It's just an assumption I've made. But Death Game is a fantastic film. It's a home invasion film. These two women basically seduce this man. Then they start causing havoc around his home and mischief, and basically, I know I've been saying that a bit in this video, but they basically capture him and put him through torture. Nothing overly graphic, but kind of psychological torture where they're fooling around with him and playing around, seducing him, tying him up, smashing his house up, all kinds of bad stuff. But Death Game, really fun movie, and the women in it are especially fun to watch. Did enjoy that one. Great release as well. Another random one, which is an Arrow video release, and that is of Creepshow 2. Now, I have the limited edition. Now, the first Creepshow is an absolute classic, and yes, I do prefer it to Creepshow 2, but Creepshow 2 is a bit more linear, whereas the first Creepshow was 2 hours. This is 90 minutes, I think. Yeah, 90 minutes exact. It only has 3 stories as an anthology, and the middle story is specifically good. The Raft, where this group of teens are basically stuck on a raft, and there's this weird sort of like gooey like substance in the water that's basically alive. This kind of flat like creature thing that is basically sticks to them and deteriorates their body. So say if they touch this substance that's in the water that's alive, they'll deteriorate. You know, they'll kind of like, it's like acid. It will strip them down from their skin to their bones. So it's quite horrific, and they've got to try. There's only a couple of them left by the end of it, and they've got to try and get away from this creature. That's the Raft one. That's brilliant. And then there's another good one to begin with, basically where the shop owners and his wife are basically murdered by this group of gang of miscreants who basically meet their fate when this tribal Cherokee chief is resurrected and takes control of an inanimate object. But yeah, Creepshow, there's another story as well about a hitchhiker, which is pretty cool. But Creepshow 2, do recommend that one. It's a fun sequel. Fun sequel, that's for sure. Another good one that I just wanted to recommend, just a standard release, but a nice standard release, and that's The Colour Out of Space. I know there's the film, I even forget what it's called now. There's a... darn it. Forgot what it's called, but there has been renditions of The Colour Out of Space before with different titles. This is the film that's based on H.P. Lovecraft's story. Colour Out of Space stars Nick Cage. There is a scene in there, of course, where he goes into complete meltdown and typical Nick Cage fashion, throws a crazy some sort of crazy fit, which is always a joy to watch. But yeah, really cool movie, great sort of aesthetic, great colours when the alien substances are like taking over the greenery at the farm. You got all these purples and things. There's a look at the back. But yeah, starts to take control of things, and some of his family become contaminated, and he's got to basically fight for the survival of his family. But really good, really good. Really enjoyed The Colour Out of Space. Quick one from Second Sight Films, and that's the House That Dripped Blood. Fantastic anthology. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee. Absolutely awesome. I remember I watched this before I actually purchased. I watched it on YouTube or Shudder. I think I watched it on Shudder and then decided to purchase Blu-ray. But such a fun anthology. Great little stories in there with vampires and wax. There's like a wax museum sort of segment as well in one of them, where I think it's Peter Cushing's character goes to this wax museum place. But really good. Not to everybody's liking, but I thought I'd recommend it regardless, and that's the Mangler. This is the Arrow video edition, which is probably the best edition out there. It's a Toby Hooper film based on a Stephen King story that stars Robert Englund, so that's a good sell to begin with. The film's kind of not the best, but it's interesting enough to keep you hooked, and there's a bit of a mystery behind it. It's basically about a huge clothes press that basically kills people. People get put through this huge clothes press, this industrial clothes press that basically just consumes them, and these people are trying to get to the bottom of it. But like I say, directed by Toby Hooper of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Funhouse, and starring Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, and based on a Stephen King story. So I'd say give it a go. Not the best film in the world though, but this edition's nice. Sort of a personal slasher favourite of mine, that's been released by Arrow is The Mutilator, also known as Full Break, I believe. It's even got the song as the soundtrack. But this is really fun. Group of teens go to stay in this rundown condo. One of the teens' relatives, I think it's the dad's or something, and they're being picked off one by one. Typical slasher fashion. But it's a lot of fun with some okay kills, and it's kind of got a good little twist at the end. I do enjoy The Mutilator. Good piece of like typical like slasher 80s action. Pretty damn good. Now, I don't have the Second Sight big box release of this, but I do have the Scream Factory, and that's Session 9. This is a psychological horror. It's a group of guys renovating an old asylum. So like a gang of workmen. They're renovating this asylum. They stumble across some tapes. They listen. So one of them listens to the tapes and uncovers some eerie interviews that have happened when the asylum was functioning, and things really do take a turn for the worst. And yeah, can't reveal too much, otherwise it'd be spoiler territory. But Session 9, good psychological horror centered around these workmen clearing a building of asbestos. And they come across some strange tapes that have interviews on them with deeply disturbed people, and this kind of leaks through into their reality. So do check out Session 9, it's interesting. A classic here, Maniac Cop, really fun one, just like a slasher with a crazed maniac cop, as the title suggests. Stars Bruce Campbell as well. He plays Jack Forrest, as it says here. It's set in New York City. And this like disfigured cop is just going around causing all kinds of nasty carnage and just killing people and stuff, and they've got to try and figure it out and stop him. Maniac Cop, really fun, good release from Arrow as well. So we've got quite a few Arrows here to go, so I've picked out a few, and I picked out The Mill of the Stone Woman. Now, to some people it may resemble something like House of Wax a little bit, but it is about this sort of wax museum within this mill. And yeah, some weird stuff going on, but really good, like sort of old school horror. I think it's from 1960, but it is very well done, very eerie, very kind of got a bit of a little slight gothic vibe to it. It's a good one. So if you've ever been on the fence about picking this up from Arrow, do pick it up. And I think the limited edition is still around, and they do it at a good price in the sale. This might even be going for about 15. I know I only paid 15 for this like lovely limited edition of the film. Another limited edition from Arrow that come out about 2019, I think, and that is Nightbreed, and it's got both cuts. It's got the standard cut and the Cabal cut, based on the novel by Clive Barker. I believe it's directed by Clive Barker too. Yeah, directed by Clive Barker from Hellraiser. So Clive Barker did Hellraiser, directed and written Nightbreed. Also wrote Candyman. So, you know, it's got some name power behind it. Really cool movie. David Cronenberg even stars in it. The director, David Cronenberg, plays that killer at the top there, if you can see him. But he does a really sinister role, Cronenberg. He's good in this as an actor. The story's pretty simple. Basically, under a graveyard, there's this sort of society of like freaks and monsters, and they're trying to fight off other evil. And they become uncovered and things like that. Nightbreed, check it out. It's good. Personal zombie favourite of mine now that grew on me over the years, and that's Burial Ground, Italian horror. Really trashy, really like silly, but got some scary moments in there, as these zombies are quite smart as well and can actually put ladders up to buildings and climb up. But it's Burial Ground, such a fun time. I do recommend this release from 88 Films, gorgeous release on 4K, look good on 4K too, and it's such a blast. It's just a, you know, even as like, you know, you can tell it's took like notes from like zombie flesh eaters and films like that, but created its own thing. And the zombies are quite sinister. They're like got this kind of skeletal look to them, and with exceptions, there's other kinds of varieties in there as well. The makeup's good. It's very creepy. It's got a creepy ending. Burial Ground, check it out. On to the final two now, so I won't go on too much. I picked out the 4K basket case. You'll have a blast with this one. 80s creature feature, basically monster movie. What's he got in the basket? This guy's going around with a basket, stays in a rundown hotel, and it's got his brother in there. Basically, he's got his brother who was a conjoined twin with him and attached to him, and they had an operation which does get revealed in the film, so I am spoiling a little bit, don't get at me on that, spoiler alert. And he keeps his brother, who's still alive, who's basically this creature, this mutated specimen, in the basket, and he gets loose and kills people and does all crazy stuff. That's Basket Case. And one that I haven't cracked open but I have seen, and that's The Brain. This was really fun, basically about this brain creature trying to take over the world, and it's just a typical good 80s sort of creature feature, a lot of fun. But all these movies that I've mentioned are worth a watch. I thought I'd just do a video with some horror recommendations of stuff I don't always talk about that much. So got The Brain, Basket Case, Burial Ground, Nightbreed, Mill of the Stone Women, Death Game, Maniac Cop, Session 9, perhaps shouldn't have done this bit, The Mutilator, Anthony Perkins in The Edge of Sanity, Psychomania, The Entity, Onibaba, Killer Crocodile, The Mangler, House at Drip Blood, Colour Out of Space, and Creepshow 2. So there's some horror recommendations for you. If you've never seen any of these movies, I suggest you have a look at them and see what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.